Today on the Small Interview Project, I'll be talking to Jason Brown from Brownies Electrical. Today on the Small Interview Project, I'm with Jason Brown from Brownies Electrical. How are you, Jace?
Good, mate.
That's good. Brownies Electrical, what do you guys do?
Small electrical contracting business.
Yep.
We do domestic, commercial, industrial. We sort of dabble in just about anything. Between me and my leading hands, we've got a fair bit of experience in lots of different areas, so there's not much we don't touch.
Okay.
We're pretty broad. I like to keep it pretty broad as well.
Yep.
I don't like to be locked into one area.
And Canberra wide?
Yeah, Canberra, even further out. We go New South Wales. One of my main blokes travels from Cooma, so
okay, so you've got Cooma covered as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So what would be the main focus? Is it mainly sort of repairs and existing homes, or do you do new homes as well?
Lots of new homes. We've always got new homes going.
Okay.
I like to keep it fairly balanced.
Right.
I like to keep it interesting for the boys as well, for the employee, so they're not doing the same thing every day, day in and day out.
Okay.
And I learnt that work was more enjoyable that way through my own experiences.
Yep.
So the houses keep things ticking around and give us a bit of a fallback of somewhere we can always go and do something if the work drops off for a day or the boys finish a job early or something.
Yep.
As opposed to the call out, the maintenance, which we've got our hands in a fair bit of maintenance stuff now too.
Yep,
so.
yep. Okay. And no job too big or too small?
I'd say there are jobs too big. I think
big,
you've got to be careful with what size jobs you take.
Yep.
I am working on proving that we make profit out of a combined smaller jobs as opposed to putting all your eggs in one basket.
Okay.
I think it's pretty scary going into the bigger stuff, especially I've seen businesses falling left, right and centre, so
absolutely.
I wouldn't like to have all my eggs in one of those baskets.
Okay, but you guys are happy to do someone come and put in a light switch or something like that?
Yeah, we do. I think that generates our base of work, so we try and keep everybody pretty happy.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into my 5 questions for you, Jason.
Righto.
Look, tell me, why was it you went into business in the first place?
Well, I wrote a few notes down.
Yep.
The first one I had was to push my own boundaries, I guess.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
I didn't like the idea of money in, money out every week. You go, you work, you get your wage is dedicated to groceries, bills or whatever.
Sure.
At the end of the week you might have some left, you might not, depending on how you live. I like to be able to be, I wanted to be rewarded for how hard I work.
Okay.
And use that to drive myself each
So you didn't
day.
want that set amount every week and sort of live by the week?
Yeah, which is, it has its benefits as its downfalls on some weeks when you work hard and you sort of can't do too much. But that was one of the main reasons.
Okay.
And the challenge of it, I guess. I like the challenge. I've always liked the challenge. I think everybody's capable of anything. I think is the way I like to look at it.
Yeah.
So if you go for it, I think if your head's in the game, you can make it work. So, and I just wanted to back myself in that area.
Okay.
So that if I think I can do it, I'm going to go and prove it. So.
Okay, so a little bit different to the standard story you hear from tradies who've been working for a boss and then all of a sudden say, well, I could do it better than this, and they go out by themselves. Or
there was a bit of a glimpse of that, which you find out pretty quick that how hard your boss was probably doing at the time. It did play a bit of a factor into the date that I decided to do it.
Right.
I thought I'd had enough and wanted to go and do this myself, but it was always a long-term goal. I was trying to gather as much information as I could from how people run their businesses and how they do things, and try and mimic where I think they do it right, and fix up where I think they had shortfalls. Okay,
excellent. If you started again, Jason, what would you do? Would you do anything differently, or would you change things?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still 5, 6, 7 years in, and still trying to fix old mistakes.
Yeah. What would be the one big thing you'd probably change?
I'll track everything.
Right.
From the word go, I'll track every dollar.
As in financials?
Financial dollar right now.
Okay.
We're doing that even now, 2 weeks after the end of the financial year. We've ripped last year's figures apart, working out where we can change things, where all the dollars went. Sure. And working out what we can change moving forward.
Okay. So in the first few years you probably neglected that a little bit, or?
Well, I think it was I guess I've always sort of said you don't know what you don't know. That's one of the reasons why I got you in, to sort of help point me in the right direction. But at that point, I needed to know more about how the tax system works, what sort of bills you're going to get at the end at the end of the month, at the end of the year, at the end of the 2 years.
Yeah.
And I know all that information now, and and knowing all that information, I'd use it to our advantage if I started again.
Okay, excellent. No, sound advice, absolutely. What would you say has been your biggest challenge?
Two. There's two. I would say staff and cash flow.
Okay.
Staff has been huge, right? You've got goals, you've got a direction that you want to head. Stability, finding stable staff to help you do that.
Yeah. So is the challenge in finding them or keeping them, or a bit of both?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. We struggled for the last 6 months to try and find a good first year apprentice.
Yeah.
So I've gone through 8, 9, 10 kids coming in having trials that either weren't up to the standard, couldn't take instruction, or left because it was too hard.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
So where do you see that sort of impacting the industry in general, like in the future? With because a lot of trades are struggling to get apprentices. So
it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can use it to our benefit though.
Yeah.
But I'm worried who's going to build the houses in 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
But the ones that I put on, I'm trying to train them up in the right way. You find the balance between the old school way, to train them up tough and hard, so they know what they're doing.
And by hard, is it because there's so many changes in regulations and standards, or are the standards pretty much consistent?
No, I think we're trying to keep up with all that stuff. There's the safety stuff, which I support 100%, making sure that everybody's safe and gets to go home to their families each day.
Sure.
I don't have a problem with keeping up with that, but I don't know if it's a generation thing that the young blokes don't realise that it works hard being a tradesman. The tradesmen take pride in showing up each day and working their hands to bone and going home to their families. So they take pride in that.
Definitely.
And I think there's too many easy avenues for kids these days. They're pretty quick to have a week on the
Not
tools.
like it was now,
well, say no. And then go, well, no, I think I'll have a go at the public service or something a little bit easier. So it's just the way it is, and you've got to find the good kids that take pride out of what they do.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you mentioned cash flow as your second job?
Yeah, well, all constantly working on that.
Yeah. Which I guess is why you've got now more of a focus on your financials as well, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, you've got to be able to turn things around.
Yeah.
You've got to be a bit stricter. I think I used to be fairly lenient with when people decided to pay their bills. So it's not so much anymore. I mean, trying to run a business here.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think if we do work, we deserve to get paid for it.
Absolutely.
So, and the easier the cash flow, it opens up other opportunities for
Definitely,
business.
definitely. So, Jason, how do you balance working on the business versus in the business?
You said it's a balance. It's a constant struggle.
Yeah.
I've struggled for years. I've tried different avenues.
Yeah.
Tried being in here full time, trying being out on the tools full time, and trying to run the office from out there. I've ran into all sorts of different problems. We had I was in the office 100% at one point, and trying to manage the boys from in here, making sure they're doing their job out here, and we got too far away from what my goal for the business was, which was just all about quality, making sure the customers are happy. We got too far away from that, so I had to change it up again, get back out on the tools, bring the quality of the work back up, and now I'm trying to find a bit of an avenue between being out there and being here. We've pulled in Janelle's in the office full time now, which frees me up to work on the business while she's doing the day-to-day sort of stuff. So it lets me work on the business when I'm in here, and making sure the clients are happy, the builders are happy, staying on top of the quotes, ticking things over that keep people nice and happy. So with the freedom to jump in the truck and go out and set targets for the boys to say that we need this house roughed in by the end of the day, and push and drive the company from out there as well. So finding the balance is it's always.
Do you think you're getting there?
Well, I'd like to think I am, but every point you're in, you're always making a change, and in a couple of weeks' time, we'll look back on it and see what was the balance right over the last couple of weeks, and try and mimic it again.
Well, I guess based on the challenge you mentioned earlier with getting and maintaining staff, you probably tend to go into that crisis or firefighting mode, and if someone's not here, well, your natural sort of attraction is to jump on the tools and go and do it, which pulls you away from on the business.
Yep, well, and a combination of both the staff and the balance. We had too much work on over the last couple of months, which means all the boys were doing a heap of overtime. working ridiculous hours, and then that means everybody's on time and a half, everybody's miserable, so you've got to wind the balance back a little bit, everybody's happier, they get to go home, and you're not paying time and a half for everybody.
Absolutely.
So it's a constant struggle trying to find the right balance.
It is. And my final question for you, Jason, is what advice would you have for newcomers to business, someone who's about to start?
I'd take it back to the question the time over again. Track everything, learn as much as you can. Know what's happening with the money once it hits your account. Know what's allocated, what's tax, what's wages, what bills have you got that week, and compare it to your turnaround.
Sure.
To prove to yourself every day, every week, that you're turning a profit every day, and prove it. Put it down on paper. Because if you can't prove it, you don't want to be guessing that sort of stuff and get to the end of the financial year and realise that you've gone in a negative direction. If you can track it daily, weekly, and prove that you're in front each day and each week, then it just becomes a cumulative. It adds up. At the end of the financial year, you know you're going to be in the right spot.
Okay, Jason, look, thank you very much. Some great tips and some great advice, and obviously some great learnings for you as well. So thanks for your time.
No worries.